And I am live, and I'm going to say, if you're on the West Coast, it's really early for you. That's about the time I get up is 5 a.m., but I think it's 5 a.m. on the West Coast right now because I am in Eastern Standard Time where it is 8:03 a.m. according to the clock. If I assume time is still right, it syncs automatically. You know, that's one of those things I remember as a kid is always having to set the clock for things. It's kind of something you don't do anymore. Everything just is set all the time. Thanks, NTP service. Who else do we have in here? Gareth making a live stream early in the morning here. We got Cody from Mac Telecom Networks. It's the afternoon in the UK. Morning from Michael. Good day. Of course, like I said, West Coast. That's when you know it's early, is all the way in the West Coast there. So the Thanksgiving holiday, for those of you that aren't in the United States, you're probably aware of it, I imagine. But it's where we celebrate in the tradition is eating turkey and things like that, which I just like the stuffing. That's actually the only thing I really care about on when it comes to Thanksgiving is the stuffing. But I like not being in the morning when everything's chaotic before things get going. Depending on the weather, even as a kid, I've always just did something else in the morning. I was like, cool, it's a day off to just do something. It's raining out, so it's a day off to play on a live stream. Oh, let's see. What else we have here? Christopher, awesome. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much there, Mohammed. So you have Happy G. You're working on a holiday. I don't consider this, I don't know what I consider work anymore. That's probably a whole discussion into itself is what does Tom consider work? My hobby is playing with technology. So I'm getting to do my hobby. I don't know. Ooh, Germany, 2 p.m. And morning from Arizona. Arizona is confusing because they don't participate in the time things. The time zone changes, the daylight savings time. So sorry about that. I know that's like a confusing person. I don't always know what time zone Arizona's in, and it's just one of those. The clock figures it out. Since starting my business, the days never feel like work. That wears out a little bit. I mean, I've been in business for 18 years, so there's still times like there's paperwork right here. And like I don't even know what this one is. It says there's postage is inside. There's that. This says I owe money, $3,000. Okay, that sounds like something work related. Then this is the city we're in. So these are the things I hate about work. That's why they're not been dealt with yet. This says City of, let's see if you can read that. Does it focus? City of Southgate Finance Department. They want money too. That's the part that really feels like work. And it's, I certainly am not dealing with any of this right now. It is going to go in this little pile that says I will just have enough of it in a pile. And once a month I go, all right, who do I got to write checks to and pay money to and things like that. Yes. Just use UTC. Yes. All right. Oh, in Australia and Switzerland here. I see all the way from Switzerland. That's cool. Yeah, 70 degrees and beautiful in Florida. It is not that way here. It's very different here. The bills feel like work. Yes, I don't like dealing with the bills. I automate them absolutely as much as possible. It just makes my life better. So that's just the thing. Hey, thank you very much for the donation. Much appreciated there. I want to thank you last month. I finished my sub-technology backing up to TrueNAS scale over a peer-to-peer VPN using pfSense. Awesome. That is great. Awesome to hear. Hi from our nation's capital. I guess don't know what nation you're in. So are you in my nation's capital? Gotta get more specific. Because I have people from all over the place, like Quebec or Chile in England. And then we have Christoph from Austria. What did I see that made me laugh a lot? It said Austria, Beethoven, or is it, what did it say? Like Bach, not kangaroos? Something like that. I was amusing meme I seen on there. What else? Washington, D.C. Ah, okay. And Johannesburg. So, yes, Johannesburg. There's a far away place from me. That's a different part of the planet. And a howdy from the land of bourbon. I will be in the land of whiskey later on. That's where I usually end up sometime later in Thanksgiving in the afternoon. I'll eat some food, have a sip of whiskey, and I'll fall asleep on the couch and snore like anybody in their 40s does. And then the kids will be like, Dad, I am that person now. That's true. No kangaroos in Austria. And someone else from Sweden. Things I was playing with today that might be kind of interesting to talk about. I didn't even, so this is a review coming. I'm at the very, I unboxed it this morning. It came in the other day and I unboxed it. Is I will be talking about, let me find the stupid, did I close the page? Oh, there it is. Go to the home page. Let me pull it up. Tricky because I got to format it so it fits. When things get stretched too wide, they don't look good when I share them. So let's share this here. Sash Tort, very, very sweet. And the Australians have kangaroos. The Australians have a lot of kangaroos. What I can't remember. There's that one kangaroo that's really muscular, and I always get a kick out of it when I see it. It's just like, yeah, crazy. Hello from Texas. There's a place where everything's bigger, I heard, or at least that's the slogan. I've never been to Texas, so I have no idea if things are bigger there or not. No idea at all. But I do know I'm going to be doing some UPS videos. And one of the things I want to point out, this is a really small UPS. And this one's going in my house. So I wanted to do some videos based on different smaller UPS devices like this right here. It's a small rack mount one. Now, this is where things get a little bit annoying on it. And you see the cool network cable. And you're like, oh, great, Thomas got a network interface, and you're going to do cool videos on affordable UPS with a network interface. Hold up. It's not that cool. Let's add back to the stream here. The only thing it does is this. The problem is it only tells you things like online, healthy, diagnostic. I can make it beep. I can show the battery status, the battery temperature, but this is all done via their web interface. Matter of fact, something kind of annoying about that is, where'd it go? Drag over the, share this screen. There's no way to access this locally. It automatically connects to the cloud and that's it. It has no web interface on it. So it just connects to the cloud and that's it. There's no way for you to control anything about it. It still has a USB, so you can use the functions like tell it to shut down and script things like that. But the annoying part is going to be the fact that there's no local interface. Now, not this model. I bought a couple of them because we wanted to upgrade some UPSs here. The other one has a option for a web interface that costs like $300. So while I think the web interface is cool, I think the $300 is a lot for it. So let me pull up the model on there. If you can make it beep and control the CCTV for the same customer, you can have some real fun. Yes, you could definitely be annoying with this thing. Yeah, you can still control this with NUT plugged into a USB. So yeah, I don't know to see how hackable it is. I haven't dug into that yet to see if there's someone who's got a replaceable firmware on it. That would be cool. But it's not something I really dug into yet. Let me pull up the model on this. This is and get the, there we go. I'll share the screen. So it is this model here. Like I said, I'll do a review of how it works. I did follow Techno Tim a couple other pages. It seems to be working well. Yeah, Techno Tim did a whole video on it. I haven't watched it, but I seen he published it, which I thought was awesome. People asked me about doing one. I'm like, Techno Tim seems to be popular. I know he's a smart guy. I've talked to him, so he undoubtedly knows what he's doing when it comes to that. But this is the model right here. It's an APC Smart UPS 500 VA 120 volt lithium ion. That's one of the things I want to talk about. And one of the cool things about it is I wanted a lithium ion one. And if you notice in the other screen, one of the things it said was replace the battery by July 25th of 2031. Yes, having the lithium ion battery pack in these, one, it's lightweight, so it doesn't weigh as much as a UPS usually does. It is a lot of power density in a small area. And also the lithium ions last longer. So you're talking about a battery life of about 10 years. That's not bad. I think a 10-year life is way better than the 5 roughly years you'll get out of lead acids. So, I mean, I wanted to try a couple of these APC. They're the new lithium ion ones. The other one I bought is a lithium ion as well. Let me find the model number of the other one I bought because someone's going to ask. I haven't set it up at all yet. It's the let's see. Yep, there it is. Let me find. I just got to search the model and pull it up. Where did it go? It's this one. So I'll be reviewing both of these. This is the other one I got. It's kind of the same thing. It's got just the Smart Connect on it. I didn't get it with, if you look at the back of it, it's got the option to put in the network. I believe it does. Yeah, pull it in a network interface, but I did not get the network interface with it. So yeah, and you're right. It's going to be a little bit more expensive at $380. I bought it for even less. You can get it on Amazon for not the big one's like $1,200. The smaller one was, I think, including shipping, like $360. It's not incredibly expensive, but the 10-year life of not having to service it, that matters. Because the batteries are sometimes not always difficult, but can be challenging to find exactly the right battery. If you buy them directly from the company, like you buy them from APC, sometimes they cost close to the price of the UPS. And I was like, man. And then, of course, lead acid batteries have a high shipping cost. The modules that are in here, actually, I'll take it out. You got to just hold the button in. There we go. Now it's off. I'll go ahead and pull this out. Unplug it. The battery just kind of slides out. It's cool. It actually looks a lot like my drone battery. When I sold my drone. I don't have it, but this is it. This is the whole battery for that UPS. So kind of neat. Just a little focus, maybe. There we go. Just a little edge connector on it. Pretty simple. It's not very big battery. And it just it slides right in like this. Like I said, I'll do a full review of it. Slides right in. Click, click. All right, I got a battery installed. That was easy. Have you seen the pfSense 2.6 update? The what's his name? Christian McDonald did some talk about it. I mean, you can download it. you can go to and it's in beta, it's not released, and there's a bunch of little things that are on there, so you feel free to check it out. I haven't gotten around to it. I'm waiting till I finish my studio because I need somewhere where it's less distractions so I can focus and do something. And I've been really busy building the new studio. Matter of fact, let's go ahead. Someone wants to see it, so let's go ahead and pull up the studio. Let me get rid of that. Just so I'll make sure what I can or can't share. Yeah, I can share all of this. All these pictures are fine. A couple family photos will pop up, but I don't care about that. Anyways, share screen, Chrome tab. For those wondering what the studio layout looks like this. And this is the layout for how everything is done. This is actually my basement right here. This is where the staircase comes down. This is the studio part down here. So this, like I said, it's one of those, I decided to go ahead and remodel the basement as much. So you have production systems are offering 2.6. That doesn't sound right. Let me look because I'm curious. Did it just get released? Not seeing my systems offering it. Let's log in another system. So far, nothing I've logged into says it's time for that. It says 252. You pull up the NetGeek blog. Well, I could just go to their Twitter. They would tweet if they had 2.6 out. Yep, I don't see it. So you'd think I noticed if 2.6 was out. You know, there's a chart I should pull up. It is one of those things where the amount of effort it takes to refute BS, people say, is a magnitude greater than creating it. Creating it's easy. You have a bunch of people arguing almost immediately because you say something's out. It's one of those, refuting it is so much harder. It's a asymmetrical warfare here. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere on their site. I mean, it's like on the roadmap for a long time. I don't see anything about it. I mean, my guess is you switch to the beta channel. That's my guess, though. Nonetheless, back to the studio we were talking about, but this is kind of the layout for the studio for those of you wondering, like the dimensions or whatever. Zoom. I think, can I zoom in? I want to let me zoom in. Thought I could zoom on this. Oh well. You can see the feet. It's my new studio is 22 feet by 16 feet. Then this part of the house, when we're finished, is going to be 33 feet by 22 feet as well. So the that's the layout that I'm working with here. And this is what it looks like right now. I just finished. This is 200 pounds of loaded vinyl. That's all of that there. It's a lot to load this on there. This is the sound deadening that's got to go on there. This is one of those twist lock plugs that the UPS will actually be. I have an adapter, so I'll have this locked in along with a line conditioner I have that's actually made for this. for the ports on the back. This is where the servers will go. Everything goes on this side of the wall, even my computer. So there's not really any wiring going in here. Everything's going to be, my desk is going to be right here, and everything's going to go through the wall. So there's no there's no no computer going to be in this room at all. My computer and everything's going to be on the other side of that wall. That's why someone asked what drops you're putting on. I'm like, none, no drops. There's no network drops in my studio because they're just not needed. If I ever need them, I'll put them in, but I don't know what I'd use them for, so I'm not going to pre-wire it. Yes, this is where the Pittsburgh toilet goes over here. So yes, I did put someone in there drawing. Oh yeah, I definitely use Cat 5 because matter of fact, I do have Cat 5 in my house because why not? I had some. I had a couple short runs. I ran it with Cat 5 because I don't care. I know it's going to make someone mad. Is there a person using the toilet the wrong way? I think they're using it the right way. They're standing in front of it. So where is the mini bar? The mini bar actually goes up here. So this little spot here is where that will go, right at the top. So that's where the mini bar will end up. Let's see, what else is there? Yeah, there's not much else to show. This is the profile picture. I use a closer look at all the vinyl and everything we put up on there when we were nailing it up. I'm also, the other reason for all the sound deadening is that's where my furnace is. So the furnace is going to make a little bit of noise coming through there. And well, it won't because it's sound deadened. I filled the whole walls here. Yep, you can get 10 gig over that. If you're using short runs, you can get a lot. Oh, for those wondering, that's my dad's dog. I was up north, and my father lives far northern Michigan, so I was sitting by the fireplace watching the dog. That's a lake and that's a moon. Northern Michigan's a pretty cool place. So I go for that. Oh, and I didn't quite understand the sign. I'm driving up north, and me and the kids got a kick out of it. It's not cannibalism if it's deep fried. I'm like, what? I don't know. But they did have hot wings, and I like hot food. I didn't feel like stopping there because I was going up to visit family, but I was like, huh. So the let's see, what do we got here? Oh, some of the other construction pictures for the studio. It's coming along though. Matter of fact, I think somewhere, look at these giant service loops on here. That's because I'm going to relocate it. So we wrapped up all the extra service loops there. That's not going to get done until that's finished. I think I posted last week talking about this. I got all the wiring and everything else in here. Happy Thanksgiving all the way from Hillsdale. Nice. Not too far from here. Happy Thanksgiving, Nick. So plenty of people in here. That's all I really got for the studio pictures. Nothing else new. Brett, because this weighs so much, we brought it down on a dolly. Brett's just looking at it, and he's like, that thing's heavy. That's all he said. He's like, that is really heavy. Oh, it does look cool with the lights. I got some lights in there. I'll do a whole parts list when I get this finished and built. Because why not? Let's see. What else did I want to talk about? Probably the new Unify update. I'm going to do a video on this. I do testing and I push it out. We have, I don't know, 50 sites in our controller, 50 or 60. I have to look. Anyways, I'll be doing a video on some of the updates on the new Unified stuff. Oh, those are strange circuit breakers you have in the States. Yes. Technology Connections did a good video on the differences in power grids, and he dove into how the US works and the fact that we have a 240 volt system that everyone calls a 120 volt system because 240 comes in and then we split it. So there's that. So it's, yeah, our system is different here in the United States. Quite a bit different than, especially our plugs. Our plugs are the NEMA plugs that we use are substantially different than the ones they use over in Europe and things like that. It's kind of an interesting stuff you don't think about a lot, but yes, there's definitely a big difference there. Let's see. Builder wouldn't do down sending to my new house. Still got R25. Yeah. Ex Riverview residents, Lions or Bears? I don't know. I don't watch sport ball. US plugs have no fuses. Yeah, that's true too. We do not have fuses in our plugs, generally speaking. Client incident response, we hand that off. We are not an incident response company. As a matter of fact, it's not something we always get to choose. And a lot of times your insurance policy will specify who's going to get used. So it's not like the incident response stuff is not, it's not where we focus right now, maybe in the future, but right now it's not our focus. But we do talk a lot about UniFi, and this is the new version of the controller, and it's not bad. I kind of like it, the new UI, because of the way they do the display options now. Let me widen that out a little bit. This is something I guess I don't like, is the fact that you have the, what do you call that? The bars going across here, and it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't really look as good. So maybe I need the firmware status, network status. We can just change the columns here. This is one of the cool, nice things they have, though, is you can pretty easily update this. So do I care about the status? Not really, because it grays it out. So we'll go ahead and take that one out. Do I care about the 24 hours of usage? Not really. So let's take that out. Hey, look, now we have a little bit better look on this. Now, what I like is that I like the fact that I can do these switches. I like the consistency they have of it in the new version here. But the downside is the only way to restart something now is to go in it and do that. If you're using the new interface, you switch to the old interface, you can restart device. Why does that matter? Well, when you start having a lot of devices at a client, you want to restart sometimes a bunch of them all at once for whatever reason. And yeah, I wish there was a way to select group restart. I didn't see any options for that. So you can do, yeah, there's no way to select groups of them. If you go back to the old UI, you can go in and just click restart all the way down. You can also click locate all the way down. I don't know why that's missing from the new UI. That's kind of an annoyance on there, but yeah, it's kind of strange. The thing though that people are really going to like is if we go to client devices and same thing, let's pop this open. And we only want the 2.4 devices. Settings. And this is the one thing that a lot of people want, is the lock to certain AP. This is a feature that a lot of people are asking about, is lock to this. This is especially helpful, not so much with phones and things like that, but with cameras. Maybe you have a camera that sits between two Wi-Fi and sometimes it jumps to the wrong one. This is a feature you like because now you can force it to always go to a device. And this has been asked for a long time. I'm really happy to see that UniFi is like, hey, let's put that in there. And that's going to get a lot of people happy. The other updates that they have on it, nothing was super exciting, but the columns are nice. This part I thought was actually really nice, being able to easily manage the columns and add different things dynamically. What interface, what IP address, vendors, if you want to put that in there, and just reset it real quick to restore all the columns to whatever the default is. I like that. I like the fact that I can filter between 2.4s and 5s really quickly. Say, all right, here's the filter, and show me only these devices. Or say only show me the wired devices. The Wi-Fi experience part is kind of weird because 10 gigabit FE. FE when it says 100. Why does it say FE? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something there. I didn't look into it. I'm sure it's a really obvious answer, but why do they call a 100 meg connection an FE connection? So yeah, that's strange. Oh, you can't sort by time anymore? Is there 24-hour usage, IP address? I don't see that here. I can sort these by uptime, or do you mean the clients? Because these can be sorted by uptime or bandwidth, up, down. All these are sortable. Fast Ethernet. I forgot it was called that. Fast Ethernet. I see everyone said it all at once. That's great. I knew it was obvious. I know what fast Ethernet is. It's just I don't see it often anymore. So I forgot that's what we called 100 was fast Ethernet, because we thought that was fast when it came out. I get the gigabit Ethernet. I got the GBE. I don't know why I forgot that 100 was called fast. What is 10 called? Slow Ethernet or just Ethernet? Yeah. Back when it was 10, you got excited when it was 10 and bidirectional. That was the exciting times then. Fracking epic. We'll go with that. Slug Ethernet. 10 was just Ethernet. Yeah. But you always had to, there was always is it full duplex, single duplex, that was the thing back then. So one of the things, let me switch to like my house. Put it back in. This is a couple of the switches at my house. And matter of fact, let's go ahead and update this one. What's connected to this? Nothing. Let's update available. Go ahead and push an update. I like the way the updates are right here. They made that kind of nice looking. That's been a nice feature of it. I've been pushing all the new firmwares because when I updated it, a few things needed new firmware, so I got ahead and updated those. Tom's Big Wi-Fi, client devices. These all my cameras right here, they're all FE, fast Ethernet. So yeah, a lot of them are, and this is also one of those myths I want to dispel, so to speak. It's even there's a lot of people get this wrong. There's this constantly assumption that if you're running 4K cameras, they have to be connected at like 10 gig. I need a 10 gig connection. Why? Well, I wanted to run a couple 4 gig cameras. You wouldn't believe how many people contact us for consulting, and that's like they start with, I need to build out a whole 10 gig network. Why? Well, I plan to get like 4K cameras. I think I need 10 gig for 4K cameras. I'm like, no, my 4K Amcrest Technologies camera, if you can't read what this says, it says Amcrest Technologies, is a 4K camera connected at 100 meg fast Ethernet. It does not take that type of bandwidth to run 4K cameras. Matter of fact, you may notice that these aren't even really sending that much data. Each 4K camera, depending on what it's picking up, is sending about 17 megs of data. That's it. Not even gig. So, oh, I surf Lake Michigan. That was cool. Cold surfing day, Honey Beach. Cool. There were times coax. Yes, the BNC coaxial cables. I used to set those up. You used to have to balance the networks with those, with the resistance ends. I forget what is, yeah, I haven't touched that stuff in a long time. That was back in my days. I didn't really know it very well. I was just a person clicking things because someone told me to. But Lantastic Systems used to use that. Yes, all the Unify Protect stuff we have is always kept up to date. So there was a security monitor. Oh yes, the token ring networks in Landtastic. Yep. Yeah, the Terminators. I think I might have some of those. Do I have one of those in my drawer? Let me look. No, I'm not a nostalgic person, so I don't usually keep stuff. But I occasionally have some of those things floating around. But there's very, very limited amounts and very, very few of them on there. So that's yeah. I just don't keep old junk laying around. Oh yeah, Bnc connectors, man. We twisted a lot of those on. Yep, with the little 50 ohm terms, they had the different color codes on the caps to tell you how many ohms the termination was. I'm extremely a minimalist, so I throw things out all the time. I just don't, if I'm not using it, I just don't keep it around. It's plain and simple, easy. I'm always trying to minimize the amount of stuff I have. It's like a constant with me. I don't like stuff or too much stuff. Even things like motorcycles and things, when I don't use a motorcycle anymore, as I've had numerous ones, I say, you know what, I ain't rode that in a while, sell it, just get it out of here, sell it. I'm weird like that, I don't like stuff. I don't know. Open WRT worth the effort and old Ubuntu stuff. Honestly, if you're absolutely broke and you have no way to purchase the newer Unify stuff, which is really inexpensive, by the way, but that's a relative term. Obviously, I'm saying something's inexpensive. It may not be that case for you. And I honestly don't ever bother doing anything with old hardware. Once it comes out of warranty, it's usually so old and often slow, it's not worth it to me. And with new stuff being in the $100 range, it doesn't seem like something I would bother with. But if you don't have something, if you don't have $100, it's one of those things that, yes, you can become more creative and use it. Do I think it's worth it? Would I grab them? No, not at all. Not me. But if you have no budget for new stuff, the only budget you have is I have access to old things and I have no money to buy new things, then that's where you probably would do well with that. I've never tried it. I don't know if it's good or not. I haven't used Open WRT in 10 plus years since I even looked at it, so I can't really say much for it. I think the same thing about the Unify Dream Machine Pro as I do all the Dream Machines. They're a lackluster product that people buy and put on eBay when they realize its shortcomings. So the problem isn't the hardware as much as it is the software. They actually have enough horsepower in the hardware. They have the specs. They could do more. They don't. And I think it's funny that I don't know, maybe that feature's out by now and I haven't looked. One of the upcoming features they bragged about was they were going to stop forced registrations. That's the dumbest thing ever. Like, we're going to force you to register. And then we're going to later on, after you complain enough, take that feature and stop forcing registration and telling you it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. No, you're giving me back what I had when I started. What do you mean it's an upgrade? You're the one that did it. Just don't do dumb things like that. You want to be the company that gives people control over their network. Well, then great, do it. Don't make me register with your cloud system. So yeah. Unify is expensive. Now that's a different problem. Where you are, Unify might be expensive, and that becomes, look at what isn't expensive in the area you're in. I know from talking to different people, I didn't even know how much of a difference until so one of my Canadian friends pointed out just how much more, and Cody can probably speak to this. Some things are a lot more expensive in Canada, and it's kind of been one of those jokes that, yeah, I can literally just drive a few minutes across the border because, we're right on the Canada is, I think, 4 miles from where I'm at right now. So It's not a far drive, but boy, that 4 miles makes a big price difference. uh, let's see. Using a Dream Machine Pro as a CCTV and eventually access control is probably okay for wireless management. Don't use it as a router. It works. Like I've talked before. I've got my daughter still has the Unify Dream Machine cylinder. Works for her, and my daughter's buying a house, and when she moves out of her apartment and moves into her house, she will also have that same unified Dream Machine and maybe one more access point because there's a basement and maybe they have they need Wi-Fi there. I don't know. We'll see if it works. I think it's great because they do quite well with the one device, because my daughter is not a tech person. They don't need any of the advanced features, so it works great for her. Simple as that. I prefer Unify, but if you like the Aruba stuff, it's not bad. I've tested some of the Aruba. I've got friends that installed it. They have the whole Aruba cloud management thing that they don't charge licensing fees for. As far as I know, they're not going to plan on doing it. I don't know. They don't have any type of, well, I can't say they don't. Someone contacted me, but boy, you can't find information easy on this. Some of the Aruba stuff has a hosted controller you can control yourself. Figuring out which model that is not clear last time I looked at their websites. Yeah. Used to bootleg work hardware from Dearborn to Windsor in the 90s. Yep. That's probably a thing. Yeah, I don't know. 5-pack of UAP AC Pros. Okay. So what hardware did you recommend for a home office, small office, a lot of network devices? Like a normal ISP router would stop working due to too much devices. We push people to the all the time. We push people to the PF Sense plus Unify. It works. We deploy a ton of it. We consult with a lot of it. It works. It's a predictable platform. We're very familiar with it. It's very trouble free. So that's what I might recommend all small businesses. Hey, thank you for the super chat donation here. Omada for small business. I'm not confident enough to put Omada in a small business. I think the Unify system is more polished. I don't have the confidence in the Omada that they don't have as many offerings. They don't have as many device offerings. And only thing they did was copy Unify. They didn't really improve on it. Therefore, they didn't give me a compelling reason to use it. And because we host and manage our controller for clients, I like the ability to host and control it. I don't know where Omada's long-term commitment is with it. They just went and copied Unify to try and grab market share. But if you're going to take the time to copy, why not take the time to innovate? Or you're not innovative and you're always chasing Unify. So I don't find them to be the most compelling offering. They seem to work though. Cody does the same thing. PF Sense and Unify Network, easy to work together. Yeah, the problem with other ones is the external controller. This is whenever I start seeing all these external controllers, I'm like, okay, who's going to turn them on and keep them running? And this is what happened to Open Mesh. Open Mesh was a Unify competitor. Open Mesh fell apart when they got bought because they guaranteed a free cloud forever. Then they had a fee that came with the company that bought them. Datto bought out Open Mesh, and your free cloud went away. And now what do? All those devices you promised to your customer wouldn't have to have recurring fees now have a recurring free or turn into a pumpkin at midnight. They disable themselves. What are you going to do? I don't like companies that offer free cloud forever that I can't control or host. If they're paying upfront, I understand the business model. But when they're offering it for free, I don't trust the business model. So what is Unify Connect? I don't know what that is. Whoops. There we go. Temporarily stopped for a second. I clicked the wrong button. I clicked back. Anyways, Protect Tele Harbor, Untangle, and Unify just set up 4 office locations that convention. Yeah. Untangle works good too. Anyone who wants any of the filtering features, we just like get an Untangle. PF Sense, sorry, they don't do a great job on that. Good hardware to run PF Sense on. You can do the Protect Teles if you want. I prefer the Netgate devices. That's my preference. But if they are outside of your budget, there's a lot of like the Protect Tele. I don't know why I have a really hard time saying that. So those are decent. They work well with a lot of the PF Sense stuff. What else do we have? What was I going to look up? Is it you said UniFi Connect. What is UniFi Connect? Yeah, I'm not even, Google didn't find it, so I don't know what it is. Oh, I see a video. I don't know. I never used it.
Traditional content available on Facebook, and now the ability to subscribe to outside libraries. Right here. Subscribe users to the source, including on.
I don't know what that is. All right, I'm confused. Oh, well, it's not only EA. There's a company called UniFi Connect, completely separate from UniFi. When you Google it, they come up. So that's interesting. UniFi AP Lite dropping to 100. Sounds like a cabling problem. I know you said change cable didn't do it, but I'm just throwing it out there. It's in my calendar, and why is it popping up? Yep. All right. Didn't have my phone off. That's all. Yeah. I don't really know what's wrong with UniFi. It's usually almost, the troubleshooting I do ends up being like the same all the time. Everyone tells me it's not the cable, not the cable, not the cable. I swear it's not the cable. I guess I'll have to pay to have you guys come out. We come out there. It's the cable. It's the same thing. I commented someone the other day about the permissions issues, and same thing, back and forth. They didn't want to have to hire me because they want to know what I left out of my video. Nothing. My video is that. And they said, I've watched your video 10 times, Tom. Your video is either wrong or I'm doing something wrong. And I'm like, you're doing something wrong. And they hired us to set up the permissions on their TrueNAS server. I set it up. I was done in 5 minutes. They forgot to connect. First, I stripped ACLs, but then they forgot to check the box at the bottom that, put all the permissions across all the different data sets at the bottom. One checkbox that I say to check, and I verified in my video, I say to check it, where you basically take the permissions and apply them to all the current files that are in there. So many times I run into this with troubleshooting. People ask me to do troubleshooting videos, and I'm like, I have. In my video, I always mention, if you're having problems, hit strip ACLs and then reapply the permissions. I've done so many consulting jobs where I was done in 10 minutes because I checked the same boxes I said to check in there. Same with like an OpenVPN setup. My OpenVPN doesn't work. You missed one of the boxes. Oh no, I swear I didn't miss a box. Go down the list, click the button. The same thing with these. It's always the cable. It's just, it's not the cable. It's not the cable. It's not the cable. We go out there, we crimp it. We don't ask questions. We'll look at it. I don't always even put a cable tester on it. We go out there, snip the ends of the cable, repunch it, go to the patch panel, repunch it. When someone else has punched it, I just repunch it. I'm not going to go and fiddle with it, see that it's loose. Matter of fact, one company hired us because, they're still an ongoing client because their wiring people were just bad. We the wiring people didn't test anything after they installed it. They were very full of themselves and our stuff works. Turns out a lot of things didn't work. So they were running around plugging things in and stuff wasn't lighting up. We provided the switches because of an argument between the owners and, well, the owners, one owner liked us, one owner liked his friend who did the wiring. So they split it where we got the IT side and the switches, the other company got the wiring. Then we had to fix all the wiring. It was just, yeah. Just takes a skip a step. Yep. Can Synology track a person from one camera to the next during playback for a large retail environment looking for an access alternative? Not really. I really wish they had. Now, they do have another NVR system I'm going to get as a demo unit to test from them that has better capabilities, but that's something they're missing is that really high-end feature that you get with some of the other ones. So it's same thing with like, where's that object? There's a couple different high-end and or expensive NVR companies, but they have an option where you can find an object and you can say, find this object, and it can find all the cameras that object appeared in. That way, if someone grabs an object, you can go ahead and figure out where that object is. That's something that I don't think I've seen at all with the Synology. I'm not sure how good their new systems that are dedicated for better analytics are. I don't know. I don't know where they're at with them. They're neat that they're coming out with them, but yeah. So thank you for the super chat. Hopefully Synology catches up on that technology. Let's see. Yeah, the DVA, I want to test one because what might be missing in the DVA literature is something I want to find out. Because one of the problems I have with Synology right now is when you do the cameras themselves have tracking options, and you can trigger on the tracking options in the cameras if they have advanced options for things. But that information doesn't seem to flow into the Synology. So the camera can say, all right, I seen a face. Synology goes, motion event. Then a camera can go, I seen a car. And Synology goes, motion event. It doesn't distinguish between them. It just records based on the trigger that came from the camera. So obviously, when you set it to only trigger on faces, you only get motion event on faces based on the camera triggering, but I don't see anywhere that data flows to tell you that it was a face event or a car event or whatever the object was that the camera can recognize. So that's where it gets a little tricky. I mean, don't get me wrong, those systems are really cool. The downside is, and like in the reason, obviously, why you want to move away or looking at alternatives to access is companies that can do that are substantially more money than buying a Synology system. It's all about budgets. I mean, everyone starts out with, I want all these things. And then they go, oh, wait, those things cost how much? Oh, what do you have in between? I mean, if your budget says, I want full object tracking, I want all this stuff, and it makes sense to do it. You know, you're a retail business. And if you're not familiar with the retail business market, they refer to it as shrinkage. Shrinkage is all the stuff that leaves the place that wasn't paid for. And if you can say, hey, this camera system will help you track down shrinkage and it will reduce it by X. I mean, I remember talking to some of these retail people, they're like, yeah, we lose about $30,000 or $40,000 a month in shrinkage at a very large retail establishment. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot. Was of course across a couple of their stores, but either way, justifying a $30,000 camera install as a one-time cost to help reduce the shrinkage makes economic sense. This is how any of these deals are always sold the same way. If you aren't familiar with how you sell it, you pitch, what is the problem you're solving? How does it benefit the business in a way that will save them money at an equal proportion or better than, of course, is the real goal, than what it costs them. So if you have a retail store that's losing $30,000 a month through shrinkage, and you can propose a $100,000 camera system that's going to last over a 5-year lifetime, they're like, okay, 30,000 goes into 100,000. All right, here's our ROI on this. After that, we start making money if we can reduce it by 100%. It's just how that whole process works for any business. I will buy a tool that saves me money because labor is expensive. So if I can get something done faster with that particular tool and I don't have to pay the same labor rate, that tool suddenly became more valuable based on that piece of information to me. Let's see. And happy Thanksgiving, Brett. Let's see. What else do we have in here? Let's see. What else do we have? Use Unifiber and contract it out, but can you make a guide at some point to how to splice all the cool stuff? I don't splice it, so not likely that that'll happen anytime soon. I don't splice fiber, so, and I'm not going to go spend $2,000 on a fiber splicing kit for a video. It wouldn't be something that economically makes sense. Matter of fact, we've been just, even when we get the fiber, we just get prefab fiber, measure it out, get some prefab. Life is good. It's been pretty easy. Oh, let's see. What else do we have in here? Verkada, really nice for this stuff. Yeah, there's a couple of them. I'm trying to remember the other one out there. There's a couple of cloud enabled ones. They charge everything as a subscription fee. I can't remember their name. We demoed their products. We were looking at it. It's pretty pricey, but it's targeted at that retail market because it has facial recognition where you can track a person by face, see how many times they've shown up. And because all the processing, they have local storage, but then they grab all kinds of data and send it to the cloud for processing. They even have the ability for you to see, like in one of the examples, I think, is if you owned a bunch of chain stores, you could see if a common person had gone between all those stores. It was some cool, fancy stuff that was obviously very pricey. So those things we like, okay, well, it's a pretty neat system, but it's got a specific target audience of someone who can really benefit from that. It just comes down to budget. When you start talking about, they had like a fee structure of like $40 per camera per month. So a 10 camera system was $400 per month, plus your initial cost of hardware and installation. It was something around those lines, 40 or 50 per month per camera. I mean, some companies go, that's not bad. Other companies go, no, that's a lot more than I want to spend because it's forever. You're always spending that. And of course, the cloud only gets more expensive. All these online services, once you're signed up and you have it all installed, if they decide to just, I don't know, do a 20% price hike, what are you going to do? Switch to another brand? You've used this for a while. It's installed. You've already got it and it's working. You're used to it. It's part of your workflow. And those are some of the challenges you come up with those. It's a happy balance and trying to find that happy balance, which isn't always easy, by the way. There we go. Oh, this is, I'll actually comment on this because this is stupid, but amusing to me. I don't understand why they're doing this. It says Linux 96.04464. That's the that's Chrome. That's the Chrome version. Why does it put that in there? Why did they pull that in from? Why do I care what browser? I guess maybe they want to know what browser I'm using and that I'm running Linux on my computer. I don't know. Thought that was funny. I don't really get it. Those little Unify things. Well, let's see. If you search my channel, I have plenty of videos on managing backups. So yes. And that's something maybe it needs its own video so I quit replying with the same comment all the time. People always ask, but Tom, how do you stop ransomware from destroying your backups? So I'm like, what do you mean? How do you stop it? You put it on a separate backup server with different credentials. But Tom, that won't stop the ransomware people. Why not? If they get the credentials to your backup, they get the credentials to your backup. There's nothing you can do. If you separate your credentials for your backup, now there's something you can do, because that they usually pop the creds for your Active Directory controller. Then from there, they pivot to whatever the backup service is running. And people think there's some magical way so you can't delete it. I'm like, no, if you have a system that they have access to that contains data and that data can be deleted, they will delete it. it's just that you can, well, file versioning is part of it too. You keep many versions of it. That's your offsite backup should have X amount of days. Now, that people like, well, there should be a way to trigger your backups to lock down when there's ransomware. I'm like, cool. If you knew there was going to be ransomware, though, you would stop the ransomware from even getting there in the first place. It's like, if you're using like TrueNAS and you're doing offsite replication, easy solution, keep 30 days offsite with a separate password and a completely, locked down to a different IP address. So if someone attacks that network, they can't pivot over there. That's kind of how that should work. But you say immutable, and that's not it's immutable is fine unless they have access to the machine that is allegedly immutable. They'll destroy that machine. Almost always, though, they don't have access to that machine unless it happens to use the same password. If you go through all the forensic reports and the differ reports, and you'll go, oh, look, they just connected it to Active Directory and used the same password, and they got in and destroyed all the backups, because why wouldn't they? And people go, well, I don't want to have to maintain a separate password. I'll just use the same one all over the place because that's convenient. And convenience is the enemy of security. Sorry, that's just how it works. So, yes. You don't have to have read-only backups. You just have to have the backups have enough revisions. And you have to have whatever is storing those. A Synology, a TrueNAS, Backblaze, S3, whatever that is. If they get access to your Backblaze account, they will purge your data out of it. Don't use the same credentials for your Backblaze account if you're backing up to Backblaze. If you're backing up to Synology C2, don't use the same credentials as you use everywhere else, because, well, they're going to go in and destroy those. It's like, it's not difficult, so to speak, but every time there's an incident that we've looked at where the backups are destroyed, it's always the same one. What happened to backups? Well, we use the same credentials, and they got the credentials and they went and logged in and destroyed all the backups. Or we kept the credentials in a spreadsheet. So once they got access to our domain, they logged into the spreadsheet that said all of our passwords, and they looked at all the passwords. And they go, hey, Backblaze, I bet they've stored all their data in there. Log in, destroy some buckets. That's just a common thing they do. So that's what else can I say? Use different passwords on everything. It's really that simple. It's not as complicated as people want to make it. They think it is. That's where the problem really comes in. It's so much on there. Do you have any preferred battery backup products, recommended setups? I'm going to do a video soon. I bought some, if you go scroll earlier in the stream, I talk about these, APC. I have a few APC with the lithium ion. I'm going to review them soon. They seem to be fine. So they work. I'll be doing, like I said, a video on them. So buy an APC. They're great. Is there a vulnerability with passphrase in Bitwarden? Not that I'm aware of. If there was a vulnerability and you know of one, you should report it to Bitwarden. But I'm not aware of any vulnerabilities in Bitwarden. Never use the same pass twice. Use Bitwarden. Yes, that is so much. Even we had a client, went through some exercises in security, and first thing they got busted on was they used the same password, everything. So they properly did and followed best practice by going through and creating different users. So people weren't all logging as admin. They had admin user that would get work done. They, when they had to do admin level things, then they would take and log in as a normal user. And IT people are notoriously bad. They want to log in as admin all the time. But they did some of those proper things, but then they just used the same password all over the place and broke. And once they were able to get their password off their normal user, they were able to escalate to the admin user. It was just like, yep, that's, yeah. So yeah, it's a problem. What type of UPS do you recommend for a network using the following devices? Same answer. You gotta buy an APC. There we go. Buy an APC one. Is the Netgate good enough for there? I would say the The Netgate 1100 is fine. I've used one for a while. It's as long as you don't need more than like 700 meg per second. Like there's some limitations. If you have gig internet, it's not going to be quite fast enough. Same with the 2100. It's on the edge of being fast enough for gig internet. So if you have gig internet, you might want to go faster. If you have less than gig, like I do at home, a 2100 is fine. I like the 2100. It's specifically, I have a 2100 at home. Yes. Whenever you're buying a UPS, please do the math. And the math is really simple. You need to figure out how many watts you're using. So once you figure out all the wattage, buy a UPS that has at least that many watts. Probably more would be better. Then the more you buy, the longer the runtime will be. So that's I'm going to bring that up in the video, like, calculate your wattage. These are things you kind of have to do if you want your UPS system to work. It's not rocket appliance, as we jokingly say at the office all the time. It's not rocket appliance, guys. It's just math. It's just math. So much of this stuff is really simple. Just like the backups. Use separate passwords. I could just say that all day because, well, people won't do it. And it's where the problems constantly come in with the backups. I mean, if you want offline backups manually done, you can do that. You can copy them to some device occasionally, but that's manual, and manual intervention is a real problem because people don't do it. We got to call, and we can't help the people. We told them their best bet is to pay the ransom. They had 70 machines ransomware, their backups, because they were manually doing it. No one did it for 2 weeks, and because they were busy. So 2-week-old backups. That was the best backup they had of all their critical data. They backed it up, I guess, to some manual process, and someone wasn't doing it for like 2 weeks. Apparently, the person was only doing it every few weeks, so the backups weren't consistent. Those are always bad. A lot of UPSs here don't list that. You can figure it out. If you go look at the APCs, they do list the wattage on them. Even when you're buying them off Amazon, that's listed in there. So it's just a matter of finding the one that's spec for you. If you go to the website, APC does list the wattages on there. They'll tell you all the details on there. I think let's look at this APC. So if we went and did this, there's even a UPS selector. Punch in the number of watts you're using, and away you go. So, is it for a server room, a network, a cloud, configured by load? What is the operating voltage? What is the watts, or VA, or kilowatt? Whichever one works for you. Do you have 800 watts you need? And it'll find the UPS of your dreams. Do you need power expandability? Do you need like another rack? What's the amount of runtime you need? I want to run for 2 hours at 160,000 watts. You got to kind of figure it out. So if you have, like, let's just say a 400 watts that you're pulling, or let's go all the way to 800 watts. And we only need, well, let's give it 15 minutes of runtime. 15 minutes of runtime, and you're only pulling 120. Hit continue. Hey, look, it's going to find me all the models. So there you go. Pretty simple to find one. It's not rocket appliance. It's just math. Nothing in Backblaze is nice. You can, Backblaze, Synology, all depends on what you're sending and what you're connecting it to. I've done a video on Backblaze with TrueNAS. I've done a video with Synology and their C2 service. So yeah, they're all good. What do you recommend as a rack when building in the home office space? I I've got rack build videos. I have links to them. The StarTech ones are fine. If you look at any of my rack build videos, I have the links to the models in it. There is no good log aggregation for Windows. I'm a big fan of Graylog. Graylog is great if you're doing that. It's not a full SIM tool. For that, you're going to have to look at either Alien Vault or QRadar or a lot of the other ones out there. They're all expensive. But Graylog at least is an affordable one for small business. Yeah, APC's been solid. So is Eaton. Anything that's by Eaton has always been really nice. Yep, I've got a whole video on Graylog. So Graylog is definitely a great place to start. The SG3100 is going into life. Go with the 6100 as its replacement. It's a big step up. I kind of hope they fill that gap in the middle. But the 5100, I think, is probably going to go into life, and the 6100 is going to be a replacement. 6100 is awesome. We really like it. We've been deploying them. They're great. Yep, Eaton makes some solid stuff. We've got some companies with Eaton systems. They work quite well. No complaints on Eaton. We have some companies with some large commercial Eaton systems, and works fine. What else was I gonna do? Eaton is expensive. Yeah, you get what you pay for on that. That's a different thing. So some things cost a lot of money. Sometimes you got to spend a little money for some quality stuff. If your budget allows it, maybe it's better to do it that way. But yeah, that's is what it is. I don't really know. I don't know what else I can say about that. So, well, let's see. Oh, that's right. Snare, you'd mentioned. I haven't tried it, but Snare is a SIM and log aggregator tool. There's a few of them out there. All of them are expensive. Once you get into any of the SIM SOC stuff, the price jumps up a lot. Hey, Mitch, awesome. Glad you can make it. I have Unify Dream Machine, not Pro. Need to add another AP upstairs. What would you use to add an AP to my setup? I would definitely run a wire. Always do hardwire. I hate doing mesh. Mesh is never as good. Yes, just build your own UPS. You could. There's stuff out there. Matter of fact, there's that one guy. He's got some really good videos. He does all the lithium ion battery videos. He's got some car builds he's done. He's built his own. I think when he became popular for his VW bus build and his homemade Tesla Powerwall, I think brings him up. I forgot his name. He's got a great YouTube channel though, where he talks about it. You can build, matter of fact, instead of a UPS, build a Powerwall for your whole house. That's actually on my to-do list. Well, let's see. Hey, thank you. The Digital Life, all the way from I believe you're from Germany, if I'm correct. I think it would be the afternoon in Germany, right? Does PFSense have a Unify-like dashboard for remote updates? Nope. Unify does not currently have a dashboard for updates. You have to manually update all of them. Is what it is. I got it right. Germany. Germany seems really cool. That's one of the places I do want to go. I've had friends who've been there and met people who spent a lot of time there. Everything is, yes, that's his JEHUGARCIA Garcia. He's the YouTube channel that's great for how to build all your own Powerwall and everything else. Greetings, custom enchants. Yeah, I don't. If you have 3-phase power, I don't really know. Nope, I don't use Starlink, but I know Chris from Crosstalk Solutions has done a bunch of Starlink videos. Recently rebuilt the network in a home, running Cat 6 everywhere. Hardline is the way to go. Makes your life easier. Oh, Great Scott's just got some great videos on electronics. So that's definitely a good channel to watch too. Yeah, the guy with the batteries. Yep. Looking for a virtualized NAS solution on ESXi? I don't recommend ever virtualizing a NAS. If there's something I would be on the stuff Tom doesn't recommend, it's running a NAS virtually. Oh, I didn't know Jeff had some Starlink videos as either. I have multiple internet providers. I have 2 different fiber options on my building. I have 1 WISP option and 2 different cable options and 1 DSL option that I can all get right here in my area. Don't have a need for Starlink. Starlink is slow with higher latency than any of the options I mentioned. So yeah, I got nothing. There's not really like a need I have for Starlink. So I don't know. It's cool. I mean, I get the whole premise. I think it's great for people in the areas where you don't have multiple access. I like the idea about it, but I just don't have a use case for it. It'd be one of those, what am I going to do with this type things? Is cool. I got a slow backup internet that costs as much as my fast options. So we actually have not reasonable, okay pricing on internet because we have some competition here in Michigan. So yeah, if you're asking about a general purpose NAS, don't virtualize it. That was one of the things I did. I would not, I mean, I've seen so many people, Xavier's included in that, virtualize his TrueNAS, have a ton of problems, and eventually end up corrupting all the data on it because just weird problems kept cropping up. I don't think I've only virtualized it when I'm running it for a non-production environment, but once it's for production, no. I'll virtualize it for testing reasons, but not for production reasons. Once you got it for production, it's just not, there's always weird bugs when you start virtualizing TrueNAS on there. So pfSense you can virtualize. I avoid it most of the time because the problem with virtualized pfSense is if you're doing troubleshooting with your virtual stack, you now took out your internet, which then limits your ability to Google the problem you're having with your virtual stack. So I rarely, other than for demo reasons or one-off reasons, I don't virtualize pfSense. I do for my demos because it's greatly convenient to spin it up virtually and do all the demos that I do. But outside of demos, I kind of lose the reason to do it. Like when I spin up, it's convenient. I'll probably spin up a virtual pfSense when I want to run the beta 2.6 that we talked about earlier. I'll probably spin up a virtual instance for it. But, it's just so convenient to have it virtual because I don't have to deal with any reloading. I can just snapshot it, do videos, revert right back to that snapshot before I mess with everything or broke something, and away we go. Matter of fact, that's actually part of my lab of how I do a video. I actually take and go through the process several times. That way, when I actually stop and hit record, I can record it in one take. without having to, because I've already went through the whole process again many times. Any of this is still, even for me, I mentioned this a few times in this live stream and things like that. Never assume because I make it look easy in a video that it's easy. I've done this a bunch of times before I did the video. And even when I do the video, I edit out if I made a mistake, because why leave the mistakes in? The goal is to teach you something, not teach you that Tom messes up. I want to be honest and that you can walk through and go say, all right, I'm going to follow this step by step and get the same outcome. That's how I want my tutorials to go. Yeah, we still use ConnectWise. Everyone complains about the price. I do too, but it works, so we keep using it. So yeah, ConnectWise is very, we kind of joke because some of the other tools we've tried out there are just not good. And they're kind of like a lot of the other ones I would compare to being the Internet Explorer. What do you do with this? Well, I use it till I can get connected because it's already installed, whatever is installed in it by default, so I can get ConnectWise on it. ConnectWise is the premium one out there of what we've tested. And I because I have licenses for it, I don't really plan on testing everything else. So I've talked to other people. They've always gone back and said the same thing I have. So I don't have a reason to test other ones. And by the way, some of the other ones that people have told me are as good as ConnectWise have about the same price. So if they're not doing anything better than ConnectWise and it's a lateral movement to the same price, why disrupt my life? Especially because we know the ConnectWise platform. You're going to be upgrading to a Dream Machine Pro, but not a Ubiquity switch. If I do that, can I still use a wireless router? Yeah, you can. It's just different. If you have VLANs, any switch you're using has to be VLAN aware in order for it to pass those VLANs, or you may have to configure it. So if you have non-VLAN aware switches and you want to use VLANs, then you'll have a problem. Yeah, ConnectWise, they've been around forever. We've been using them before they were ConnectWise. We started using them when we were just called Screen Connect in like 2013, maybe 2014. So we've been using them for like 8 years. It's it's for remote access, it's hard to beat. Thanks for your advice. It's only my home lab stuff and lots of family photos, automated backup on Unraid. Hey, as long as you get the backups automated, that's what's important. The UDM Pro has limited amounts of storage on there, so why use ConnectWise over the built-in take control with Enable RMM? Because ConnectWise controls better. It works better. The dual monitor, like so many, majority, it's getting to the point where of all the machines we manage, there's so many of them with dual monitors. The take control can do it. ConnectWise does it better. So the way ConnectWise works for handling dual monitors and things like that, it's just easier. It's just a simpler system to use. That's one of the reasons we like that. I covered the studio earlier in the video, so go ahead and hit the rewind on here and watch. I covered all the studio updates earlier. But it's going well, so it's just not done. It can't be done fast enough. There's no way for me to make it done fast enough. I'm trying. We've got drywall up. We've got sound deadening up. I want it all. We're probably going to work on it some more tomorrow, so it just can't get it done fast enough. Let's see. Yep, Brett's coming over and we're doing some drywall tomorrow. We'll have it done. And then I have people coming out for the mudding and taping on Tuesday. So yeah. That's it's all coming along. Brett knows how impatient I am with it. Brett's always like, what's your timeline? And I'm like, yesterday? Like, what do you mean, what's my timeline? Yesterday, that's my timeline. It should be done already. When I commit to doing a project, I want it done immediately, now, not like, I mean, I'm as rational as I can be, but what is that Dilbert there's a Dilbert one that said, it's how to deal with unreasonable project managers. And it says, that project that was due in 2 weeks, can you have it delivered by tomorrow? And a person says, I can absolutely have it not done by any day you'd like. When it gets done. That too. They just want me out of the office so I don't drive everybody crazy. So I have somewhere to be when I'm being my obsessive self. I'll be in my basement being obsessive and doing stuff, which means I'm creating videos. So yeah, well, it's one of those perspectives. When working at small business, lots of tools out there get expensive from a pricing standpoint until you have to do payroll. It's when you're an MSP, and I've talked about this a couple times. The tooling has an expense, and obviously, you spend thousands and thousands of dollars a month in tooling, and it adds up. And but then you look at what your payroll is, and the payroll for a week is always more than a tooling is for a month, and it's just the way things are. You're always trying to find tools to keep your labor rates down, so you can minimize the amount of people you have to hire to manage things at scale. That's always the balance you're trying to keep on there, because turns out, employees are expensive. Healthcare benefits, if you're in the US, they're expensive. And this is all stuff we got going. So that's a almost bigger cost than, well, it is a bigger cost than the tooling. So it's kind of comes back down to perspective, but that's why you're always conscious of tools and how they scale. Because will this tool allow me to scale better? Will it allow me to have less people time and more getting things done time? So happy Turkey Day. Any tips for pfSense Ubiquity running controller in a Docker or on RAID? If you want to run it in Docker or on RAID, go ahead. I run it as a virtual machine. I don't run it in Docker. So I don't really have any tips. You can. I know a lot of people that do, and they seem happy. So the problem I have with running it in Docker, who's producing the Docker image? Do you trust them? I hope so. That's supply chain attacks are a real problem, and Docker images that are poisoned are a real problem. So if you trust the person making the Docker image, go for it. If you're building the Docker image, great. If you don't trust them, well, think about that. If that person decided to backdoor that Docker image, would you know? It's one of those things. You're relying on some person who creates a Docker image for Unify, and you're hoping that they don't have any bad intentions. So that's my advice whenever people ask me about running things in Docker. Where's that Docker image coming from? There's a lot of official Docker images from people, but there are lots of unofficial ones that someone's project is just to keep it up to date. Or is it to build a user base and then load a bunch of crypto miners because they want to make some crypto money, and your machine seems like a great machine to do that on? Stick with your own VM. If you run your own VM, you're minimizing the whole supply chain attack. It really comes down to who runs it. I know that there's like a couple. It's been a while since I looked, but when I looked for the Unify Docker images before, there was like a popular one that was run by one person that you didn't have a lot of information. Like, it's not like, for example, if Jay from Learn Linux TV decided to be the maintainer of a package, you go, I trust that Jay from Learn Linux TV guy. He does videos. He's probably not doing anything bad. I'll trust Docker images he supports. When you know the people involved in the supply chain, great. When you don't, it becomes a little sketchy. You're like, I don't know. It's just the most popular one. So I pulled it from Docker. But who wrote it? I don't know. Some person that I don't know or have any background on. So hey, good to hear you got the network back up and running, Grayson. That's awesome. VMs are annoying to manage. I don't know. I don't have any problem managing VMs. I guess it depends on what tool you're using to manage them. As a matter of fact, one of the things I had mentioned today, I tweeted today, I should say, because speaking of managing VMs, let's pull this up. There's a new feature. There's more integration with Ansible. So this was just released today. It is Ansible with Zen Orchestra. So this allows you, they've already got Terraform in there. This is also a way to manage infrastructure as code and build out your virtual machines and manage them all with Ansible. I don't know if I'm going to do a video on this. I'm really not an Ansible person, but hey, isn't this cool that you can do all this? This is a pretty neat feature in my opinion. Bought 2 UniFi Wi-Fi 6. Bought 2 UniFi Wi-Fi 6 lights. The speeds are about 200. Yeah, welcome to Wi-Fi, where it's just a headache. There's no doubt about that. Getting speed out of Wi-Fi is just good luck. It's one of the reasons, and Wendell did this too from Level 1 Techs. He has a video where he's talking about trying to do speed tests on Wi-Fi, and he even gets aggravated at the inconsistencies. It kind of says something along the lines of, I need to build a Faraday cage. Now, I actually believe Wendell will build a Faraday cage at some point in time, but that's a real problem. Wi-Fi is fickle. When we did device testing with different phones, we actually found different phones connecting to different models of different Wi-Fi units got different speeds, and they weren't all consistent. It wasn't like, hey, when we connect these 3 different phones to this AP6 device, they all got the same speed. Some were faster, some were slower. And then that got flipped when we connected the phones to a different AP. It really comes down to what you're testing with. Don't ever expect, my rule of thumb is don't ever expect the best speed performance out of whatever Wi-Fi device you're using. Good luck. It's the combination is always going to be some little conflict. TrueNAS Scale, no, TrueNAS Scale will not be a replacement for ESXi, because TrueNAS Scale is not a full-blown virtual machine manager. TrueNAS Scale is all about storage and running some containers inside of the system. It is not a replacement for virtualization. XCP-ng is today a replacement for ESXi. So it's not a full-blown hypervisor right here. So if you're looking for a replacement for ESXi that's available today, that's XCP-ng. XCP-ng can handle all of that right now. Like, it's a pretty amazing system. Haha, yes. Yes, you work for an ISP and people complained, I can't get the right speed. I had someone, we never really figured out why. We had someone complaining, one of our customers we did a really big install for. Turns out their phone, we don't know why, doesn't like UniFi. And it was also out of date, out of support iPhone. He had a really old iPhone. And I showed him, like, anywhere he would stand, I could stand next to him with 2 different devices, a laptop and my phone, that would get really fast connections. And his old iPhone it didn't want to connect very fast. But the customer's like, well, I need something that makes this work. I'm like, come on, man, just buy a new phone. It's out of support. You've got like a 6-year-old iPhone. You got one of the earliest ones or whatever that is still even available. So I've not tried running VMs on TrueNAS Scale. I don't know how good they are. I know in TrueNAS Core they sucked. I'll just say it. There's a reason I don't have a series of videos on TrueNAS Core and virtual machine management, because it's bad. Every time I tried it, I was like, this is bad. Now, TrueNAS Scale seems to be good for Docker support, so that's great. I don't know where they're at. I have not done any testing with how good they are for the VMs. I'm not sure. I don't know how stable it is. It's still in beta, so it becomes kind of tricky at that point. I have a whole video on SD-WAN. If you look at on my, if you look at the videos I have on SD-WAN, I talk about it. I don't really give any specific recommendations. So I don't have any go-to company. Most of the time people are oversold on SD-WAN. Failover is fine because SD-WAN has a recurring cost with it that a lot of people don't want to pay because you have to pay your provider or providers is a more better way to put this. So you got to pay for internet for two providers, and then you got to pay an SD-WAN provider to glue those two devices together. There's a few different companies out there. I think I mentioned a couple of them, but I see so many people oversold on it. And it was one of those things, once you tie your pricing to it, I mean, do you need that absolute seamless failover, or can you wait a few seconds for things to roll over to the other connection? So I don't have any direct recommendations, but I do have an explainer video on it. I don't use Proxmox, so I have no answer for that. That's a Jay at Learn Linux TV. Jay has a video series on Proxmox where he talks about using containers. Yeah, that's a whole other problem. The saturation of Wi-Fi, yes. Hey, no problem. Oh yeah, that bash the like button. It's an hour and 35 minutes in. I will be winding it down here shortly. Hold on, let me see. All right, that's running. I got some stuff running in the background. I'm waiting for it to complete. As I do occasionally, maybe I'll do a backup video as well. I do occasionally create some immutable backups from time to time. Let's see. I think I've answered everyone's question. Oh, okay, this one right here. Hey, couple phones and laptops. My Netgear gets better speeds, but does not get to the other in the house. Why I want to switch to UniFi? For me, this is from what our customers always ask for. For our business clients, they ask for Wi-Fi to be reliable before they ask for it to be fast. It's almost always like right now, we're doing a series, another group. We've been doing so many warehouses, one after another. And the warehouses, they don't care about speed. They care that the tablets that are attached to the high-lows and all the scan guns that they have that scan all the boxes and things, they're sending kilobits of data. They only care that the data gets there, reliably. They don't care about speed. It's not even a question that comes up. It's like, we need coverage. Don't have any dead spots because they have a bunch of employees running around, moving boxes, moving pallets, and they need to be able to scan them and move them. If they have to wait for connectivity, they're not scanning and moving stuff. It's really a simple equation at that point. This is why home users always go nuts of trying to get the fastest connection. But I already know, if you're a gamer, you don't want the fastest connection. If you're playing games, you're going to hardline it because that's how you solve all the latency and all the potential issues that will come from Wi-Fi. Nope, it's raining too much for bike riding. Hey, look, and you hardlined everything. So after 2 years of watching it, you've got all kinds of Cat 6. That's awesome. Take a look at TP-Link. Yeah, the TP-Links, I did a video on them. For home users, I use them. I don't know where TP-Link lands on the support or for how long they'll keep supporting the product, but it seemed to work. It's functional. So hey, awesome. I'm really glad it was helpful. It's kind of funny. One of the people that followed my content from a few years ago is now one of my close friends and works in cybersecurity. He started by watching a bunch of my content, learned a bunch of networking, dove into a bunch of topics, and now has a very good career in cybersecurity. He's become a friend of mine. He lives really close. He lives in the same city I live in, Southgate. So TP-Link support sucks. Well, so does Unify. If there's something TP-Link was able to do, it's copy Unify in all the right ways and all the wrong ways. Toilet paper link. Sure, we can go with that. All All right. Well, I'm going to wind this down and do a few other things and maybe make another video today. Kind of depends how I feel, and go from there. Let me think. What else? Did I answer all the questions? I don't see any more further questions. So I'm going to wind it down. I'm going to go do some Thanksgiving stuff. I'm going to go finish a few things. Maybe I'll get started on these UPSs so I can talk about UPSs and reviewing them. Get all that done. 1,500 page for the command line. Unify does. So who has a 1,500 page? TP-Link or Unify? That's a lot of pages. Oh, thank you very much, Jake. Have a good rest of your day. 1:15 a.m. here. Get some sleep. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Have a great turkey day. Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. I'm going to wind it down before it goes all the way 2 hours because, I do that sometimes. But by the way, when it's at my house, I can go longer on the live stream. So some of you may be excited about this getting done because then I can just do live streams at night. I can do live streams during the day. I can do whatever I want. And I don't have far to go. I don't have to worry about, I got to get back home for something. So that's another exciting thing about doing it. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. And chat with you later.